Hey guys, so we are doing lesson 6, and it's actually quite a bit of information, so I broke it into two halves. So the first half we're just talking about angle vocabulary and angle identification, and then the second half of the notes is going to be angle relationships and how angles relate to each other. So there's going to be these notes, and then a short practice, a sort, and then there are going to be the next set of notes, and you'll do a math space, which is a much longer practice. Okay, so let's get started. So the vocabulary, an angle is two rays that share a common initial point. So you remember what a ray is, right? The initial point is called the vertex. So what I mean is if I'm looking at this, I have C to H, okay? H is my endpoint and C is my ray, right? Or HC is my ray, HS is my ray, and it's like two rays came together and they met at the shared endpoint, which becomes a vertex. And so you can name your angle four different ways. You can name it CHS, CHS. The vertex is always the middle letter, so another way to name it is, you guessed it, CH or SHC, as long as the H is in the middle. Okay, so those are the two most common ways. Sometimes we can name it with just the vertex if we're talking about just one angle. It gets a little confusing later on, so the preferred method is the three-letter method. The last way that you can do it is, if there's a number there, like here, you could say angle 1. I don't like to use that method. It gets a little confusing, especially when you're talking about, is it 1 degree? No, it's not 1 degree, it's angle 1, and it gets confusing when you put numbers in where letters should be. Anyway, moving on to this. An angle is a measure in degrees. So the symbol for degrees is that little circle. And you can just write that on your paper. If you're working in Google Docs, which I doubt you ever will, for math, unless we go back to COVID quarantine, God forbid, you go to insert special characters and type degree in the little box, and it'll pop up. Okay, and the number is based on how much of a circle the angles make, but the full circle being 360 degrees. So this, a circle, is 360. Your angle measurement is just the part of the circle that you've taken up with the angle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to identify classifying angles. This is old news to you guys. You've done this multiple times before. I know this because my kids went through elementary school in Fairfax County. Okay, an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. It's a cute little angle. He's so cute. An obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. A right angle is 90 degrees. And a straight angle is 180 degrees. And now what you're going to do on Edpuzzle is you're going to identify, using that information on your notes, what each of these is, right? Is this acute, obtuse, right, or straight? Okay. Here's the last part of our notes for the day. For this part anyway, for part 1. So we're going to talk about adjacent angles. And adjacent just means next to. So when I say adjacent, I just mean next to. That's all it means. So I'm going to go through the math definition. Okay. If P is the interior of, should have said PS, I'm sorry. If PS is the interior of angle RST, then, this is the math definition, RSP and PST are adjacent angles. So let's trace that with our fingers. So I have R to S to P, so that's one angle. And then I have P to S to T with a common ray of SP. So does that make sense? SP. So here's a way for me to tell that you're actually listening with headphones and not just copying. On your notes, if you want extra credit, you're going to draw the symbol for a ray over SP. So you're going to draw the symbol for the ray right here instead of just copying the notes and listening, and that way I'll know. Actually, not extra credit. This is actually going to be graded. What? Yeah, I'm going to grade this. Okay? And then the measure of RST, so the whole angle is the sum. Oh wait, this sounds a little familiar to me. So my little angle plus my little angle is equal to my big angle. Oh, just like line segments. Little piece plus little piece equals big piece. So when I talk about line segments, little piece, big piece. When I talk about adjacent angles, it's the same thing. Little angle, big angle. So angle RSP plus angle PST is equal to the whole thing, RST. Oh, okay. So now I'm going to start this off, and you guys are going to finish it off on Edpuzzle. So I'm going to start this off. So I'm looking at this big picture here, okay? Angle CAR and angle RAT are adjacent angles. They share a ray. They share the ray AR, right? This is in the middle. So M angle, what does M stand for? Again, I'm grading this. Write it down on your notes. M stands for measurement. So when I say M angle, that means I want the number of degrees, right? So the measurement of angle CAR plus the measurement of angle RAT is equal to the measurement of the big angle, CAT. Little angle plus little angle equals big angle. So now I want you guys to go ahead and do this on Edpuzzle. Okay, so let's go ahead and check our work. CAR is 120 degrees. RAT is 40 degrees, and I just add them together. So 120 plus 40 is 160. So CAR is 120, angle RAT is 40, and the measure of CAT is 160. Does that make sense? Okay. Next one, angle addition postulate. That is just what we just did. Okay. My little angle, so I'm looking at this, I have two adjacent angles. I can tell they're adjacent because they share a ray, SP. And now the first thing that I'm going to do is label my drawing. So if the measurement of angle RSP is 2x plus 10, I'm going to put that in my drawing. If the measurement of PST is 3x minus 5, I'm going to put that on my drawing. I'm doing this for you, by the way. You're going to have to write this on the next ones, on your practice ones. So the whole thing is 85. Okay, so now I'm going to write my equation. I want you guys to write your equation. Little piece plus little piece equals big piece. Okay, then you're going to plug it into Desmos and tell me what x is. Okay, so you put that in for x, then you substituted in and found your angle that you were looking for. You were looking for angle PST, so you substituted your x value back in, just like with line segments, just like with the quiz. We've been doing this over and over and over and over. Okay, so this is the last part of your notes today, an angle bisector. Now, we've already talked about bisectors, right? In lesson 1, we talked about a midpoint. That's the middle. So the midpoint is a point in the middle of the line. A bisector is a line in the middle. So a midpoint is a point in the middle. A bisector is a line in the middle. So if it's an angle bisector, it is a ray or a segment or line that intersects the vertex of an angle and creates two congruent parts. The adjacent angles will have this equal measurements. And that's marked here. Remember, we went over this. Tick mark, they're the same. So angle AOC is equal to angle COB. And I'm told over here that the line segment RS bisects, oh, not RS, sorry. Should have said CO, I didn't change it. I need to fix these notes. This should say CO. So angle AOC is equal to x plus 4. So I'm going to label it. Angle COB is equal to 3x minus 2. So I'm going to label it. Remember, step 1, label your drawing. And now I need to find the measure of CAOC. Well, I'm not talking about little piece, big piece. I don't have the big piece. But what do I know about angle AOC and angle COB? They have the same marks here, so they're equal, right? So I'm going to set up my equation. I'm going to find x, and I'm going to plug it back in and find the measurement of AOC. So you guys go and do that now on Edpuzzle. All right, and I'm going to show you how we did it. So you got x equals 10 in Desmos. You plug that back in, and you add your angles together. AOC is 10, because I put 10 in for x, plus 40 is equal to 50. And they're both 50, right? If one of them is 50, the other one is 50, because it's bisected. They're both the same value. So AOB, if I was looking for AOB, it would be 100. That's just extra information. All right, go and do your sort, and then do the part 2 of the notes.